3-1, determining whether the relationships are a function. So number one, we're going to determine whether this image represents a function, and we're going to have to explain. A, B, and C, we can apply the vertical line test. So the vertical line test is when we draw a vertical line down that middle, and let's see if it passes through more than one point. So here's that vertical line, and then you should notice here that it does pass through two points. It passes through this one point and it passed through this point. So this is going to be not a function, and because it does not pass the vertical line test, that is the reason. Okay, same process here. It passes through 2 points. Therefore, we can say this is also not a function. Here's the first point, here's the second point. Okay, this is going to be not a function. Then let's do the last one here. We can draw a vertical line. It doesn't matter where we put our vertical line. Okay, it passes through that once. Doesn't matter where we put that vertical line. It only does pass it through once. So we would say that this is a function. Okay, this is when for every x there is exactly one y. Okay, that's the idea. So for A, 1 goes into 5. Okay, 2 becomes 6. If we press 3 for the x, we get a 7. If we press a 4, we get an 8. That all works. So this is going to be a function. All right. And let's do E. If we press -6, we get 6. If we press 0, we get 6. We press 3, we get 6. If we press 7, we get 6. Okay, everything works there. It is a function because every single x had an exactly one y. Okay, so if we, for F, if we press a -5, we get a 4. But also take a look. If we press a -5, we also get a 4 here. All right, okay. So is that okay? Yes, because -5 does become 4. -5 does become 4. This is still okay. All right, okay. Because every single time you press a -5, you get a 4. All right, so that's still okay. Press a -2 becomes a 1. We press a 0, we get a -2. This is still a function, right? So let's take a look here. All right, I'm going to show you something that is not a function. Let me show you something that is not a function. Okay, it's this one. So do you see that 3 here for the x, and you see a 3 here, which is the x? This is the y, and this is the y. Okay, if we press a 3, do we get a -2 or a 1? We don't know. Okay, so here this is going to be the one that is not a function. Okay, if you graph this, this also does not pass the vertical line test. All right, because if we have the input of 3, we don't know the output. It can either be -2 or 1. That's why it's not a function. Okay, let's look at G. Okay, if we press a -4, we get a 1. That's perfectly fine. We press a 1, we get a 1. That's okay. -5, we get a 1. 6, we get a 1. So every input had an output. So that is still a function. Here, we press a 0, we get a -4. We press a -4, we get a -4. We press a 2, we get a -3. We press a 4, we get a 0. This is still a function. The only time it is not a function is, again, I, because of that 3. It had multiple x values that were the same. So the 3 here were the same, and they had different outputs. That is why that is not a function. Okay, so there you go. A, B, and C is done using the vertical line test, and the rest we have to look at the inputs and outputs.